All right, everybody, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive, and this time we are really diving into the future because we're talking all about Tesla and their big swing into AI and robotics with that crazy We robot event.
Yeah. I mean, it was straight out of science fiction, wasn't it?
Totally. So we've been digging through a ton of articles and videos trying to figure out what's really going on here. Is Tesla really about to revolutionize transportation, or is this just a bunch of hype?
Well, it's definitely ambitious. What's interesting to me is the approach they're taking. They're not just talking about self-driving features on existing cars. They're going all in on purpose-built robotaxis.
Yeah, the Cybercab, that thing looks like it's straight out of Blade Runner. No steering wheel, no pedals, just this sleek pod designed to zip you around the city.
And get this, they're aiming for a price point under $30,000.
You're kidding me. Under 30 grand for a self-driving car. That's insane. Some of the autonomous vehicles out there right now cost like a small house.
Exactly. And that's part of their strategy, right? They want to make this technology accessible to the masses, not just the super rich. It's that classic Tesla playbook, disrupt the market with a more affordable option.
Okay, so they want to be the Ford of robotaxis. Build them cheap and build them by the millions.
It's a bold move, especially when you consider the competition. Waymo, Cruise, they're all still grappling with high costs, but Tesla thinks they can crack the code.
It's a gamble, for sure. But there's one thing that's got me scratching my head. The Cybercab only seats 2 people. Like, is that really practical if they're going for mass adoption?
Yeah, it's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
It seems like they're prioritizing efficiency over passenger capacity with this one. The Cybercab's all about navigating urban environments quickly, making those short trips with 1 or 2 passengers.
So basically the perfect Uber or Lyft replacement.
Exactly. But that does raise the question, will a 2-seater design limit its appeal? Are people ready to ditch their cars if it means having to hail multiple Cybercabs for their family outings?
I guess only time will tell.
But it makes you wonder about their plans for larger groups, which is interesting because then they went and announced the Robovan.
The Robovan. Now we are really going for it, huh? What's the deal with this thing? It sounds huge.
Yeah, well, if the Cybercab is for those quick individual trips, think of the Robovan as its big brother. It can carry like 20 passengers.
Seriously, 20 people?
Yeah. Imagine that thing showing up at your kid's soccer game to shuttle the whole team back home. Talking a carpool game changer.
Okay, I can kind of see it. But isn't it going to be a tough sell getting 20 people into a vehicle with no driver? Like, that just seems like asking for trouble.
That's the big question, right? Safety. And Tesla knows it, which is why they're making these big claims about how their self-driving tech is going to be so much safer than human drivers.
Didn't Musk say something crazy like it'd be 10 times safer?
Yeah, 10 times. Which sounds pretty wild until you understand the tech behind it.
Okay, so humor me. What is this revolutionary safety technology? Does this thing come with its own airbag suit for each passenger or something?
You know, it's not that far off. They're using something called sensor fusion, which is a fancy way of saying it has eyes dot everywhere.
Okay.
Like imagine cameras, radar, LiDAR all around the vehicle, feeding a constant stream of information to the AI brain that's actually doing the driving.
So it's basically got 360-degree vision like a hawk or something.
Exactly. But it's more than that. It's not just seeing, it's learning. Constantly processing all that data, predicting what other drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, squirrels, whatever, are going to do next.
Okay, that's where I get a little creeped out. How can a machine possibly predict what a squirrel is going to do? Those things are nuts, no pun intended.
Well, that's the power of AI, right? Remember how computers used to be terrible at chess? Now they can be grandmasters because they've learned from millions of games. It's the same principle here. The Cybercab and the Robovan, they're learning from every mile they drive, every near miss, every unexpected lane change, becoming better, safer drivers than humans could ever be.
Okay, I gotta ask. What happens when it encounters something it hasn't seen before? Like, I don't know, a unicycle juggling bowling pins while riding down the street?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even with all this advanced tech, there's still a lot that can go wrong. Public perception is huge. Are people really going to trust a machine to handle those edge cases?
It's a lot of trust to put into lines of code when it's your life on the line.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole regulatory nightmare. Governments are understandably being very cautious about letting a bunch of self-driving vehicles loose on public roads.
So basically there are a ton of hurdles to clear, and that's before these things even hit the pavement. Speaking of which, Musk is saying 2026 for the Cybercab rollout. Is that even remotely realistic?
Well, you know Elon and his timelines. He's like that friend who says they'll be ready in 5 minutes, and then shows up an hour late with a coffee stain on their shirt.
Yeah. Except in this case, it's not just a casual coffee date, it's the future of transportation we're talking about.
Right. And this isn't just building a car, it's building a whole new ecosystem.
Yeah.
Remember, we were talking about the Robovan's potential impact on public transportation. Well, imagine cities having to completely rethink their infrastructure. Bus routes, parking regulations, everything changes if these robotaxis and Robovans become commonplace.
Yeah, it's like we're playing SimCity in real life, except the stakes are way higher.
Way higher. And the risks are bigger too. We've talked about safety and regulations, but what about cybersecurity? Imagine if someone hacked into a fleet of these things.
Okay, now that's straight out of a Black Mirror episode. Don't even go there.
It's a legitimate concern, and one that needs to be addressed before we have Robovans pulling up to elementary schools. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do before any of this becomes a reality.
So should I be canceling my driver's ed classes or what?
I mean, I wouldn't do that just yet. But it's clear that things are moving fast. Whether Tesla hits its 2026 target or not, the shift toward autonomous vehicles is happening. The technology is evolving rapidly, and the potential benefits, in terms of safety, efficiency, all of that, are huge.
It's like we're standing on the edge of this crazy technological cliff, not sure if we should be excited or terrified to jump off.
That's a pretty good way to put it.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What should we all be paying attention to in the next couple of years as this unfolds?
I'd say watch the real-world testing closely. Can these vehicles handle the chaos of actual roads, not just test tracks? Are they as safe as Tesla claims? And maybe even more importantly, how do people react to them? Are we ready to hand over the wheel, literally, to algorithms? The answers to those questions will determine whether Tesla's robotaxi dreams become a reality or just a footnote in automotive history.
A lot to think about. It's been a wild ride exploring this whole autonomous vehicle thing. From those sleek cybercabs to those massive robovans, it feels like the future is approaching fast.
No doubt about it. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this deep dive into the world of Tesla and their big bet on robotaxis. We hope you enjoyed the ride. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss our next episode, where we'll be exploring another fascinating topic that's shaping the future. Until then, keep those brains buzzing, and we'll catch you next time.